Hey everybody! So I mentioned in one of my previous videos that I was going to get into some knife making, and I've already done it in a video where I made an axe. And right now I've been wanting to have a better way to make kindling. I have a lot of pine on this property, and pine is usually pretty easy to split and to use for making kindling. It's fairly easy to light. So I had a whole bunch of little scrap pieces of stainless steel, and I figured that I would use them to make a kindling axe. So this is the rough one, and what I want to do today is show you guys a little bit how I made this, but I want to do a few improvements on this that I've noticed from the testing. So stainless steel is fairly soft, so as I'm hammering on this, it is bending. So I think what I need to do here is double this little area up and double this area up. It is made in a little slightly different shape. So if you look at down the end, the profile here, you'll see that I've got basically 1/4 inch thick piece down here, and then I welded a second one on top here. And what I want to do is put a third one here to create more of a wedge effect. This does go in the wood fairly well, fairly easily, but it doesn't have enough of a wedge effect. So I have to hammer on it quite a bit before it goes down and starts separating the wood. So I'm going to add a couple more pieces here on the edge. Okay, and that's all this is. This is just literally a bunch of scrap pieces of stainless melted together, not welded, melted together. There are no welding rods on this. This handle is 3 pieces. You know, this weird shape here is like that because this is how the scrap I had was, and I figured it would give it a little bit of meat too. But what I'm really liking it. It's got a lot of weight to it. I know it looks like a giant cleaver, but this part here that sticks out, what this serves as you get into the wood like this deep, right, you can still hammer here. You can still hammer this little knobby here. You can still hammer here, so you can kind of wiggle it through the wood. So, but I'm hoping that I won't need to do that once I add a little bit more of a wedge effect here. This is too thin of a wedge, so it's yeah. So I figured I would at least videotape this part so you guys could see how easy it is to make this if you have a TIG welder. So I bought this Everlast Power Pro 164 SI welder in 2020. I didn't know a thing about welding at the time, and everything I've done, I've watched a few YouTube videos of professionals welding, and but I've developed some techniques that I haven't seen anybody else use, and this is one of them. Basically, the idea is you're trying to fabricate something with scraps, and rather than, you know, using a lot of filler rods and stuff for things like stainless steel, which doesn't oxidize very much, you can just use your scraps. And what I'm finding, like, because I buy my metal at a recycling depot, and so typically it could be like a sheet of stainless that somebody just went through and did a bunch of plasma cuts in it, and so there's little wedges in between, but on the edge there's a nice strip, could be 2, 3, 4 inches wide left, and so, you know, that's good stainless to me for various projects. And so I'll buy that and then cut the little scraps. So these little scraps here that I'm using for this video, they just came from the little cut-offs around the plasma cuts. And you'll see I'm able to turn this into something really useful. I did a little bit of cleaning, so I got that wedge added. You can see what that looks like. I'll just show you guys how well this works. So you could basically, the wedge is on the side that the wood flips out. So So once you got a bunch of these made, right, then it's pretty easy after that. Thing goes really well for that. So you just goes through it like butter. There's the kindling. Handful of kindling made in a few seconds. So now this isn't pine, this is hemlock. So that's why it's a bit harder to split than pine would have been. So another thing I found that worked good with is this apple wood. So this apple wood I had to cut about 6 inches because it was almost impossible to split. It's the hardest wood I've ever had to split. But with this thing, see, it's still hard, but I am able to split it. Fairly easily. Yeah, just don't be afraid to try this technique. If you have a welder, TIG welder, you can just put a whole bunch of these together. As you can see, I hammered on this thing with an axe. It didn't break, didn't crack. For some reason, melting stainless steel together like that seems to work all right. So give it a try. Bye for now. Check out. So that was unexpected. I got this thing too close to the melted metal and it actually broke off. So there's even a piece stuck in the molten stainless steel.